stuff like young Rapunzel, whoever that is, some rap chick artist, and please, you don't have to go watch this. You probably will wish you hadn't if you did, because I mean it's pretty dark, and the lyrics are nasty stuff coming out of this gal's mouth. All right. But anyway, let me just give you some of the highlights here. Here is like the opening scene. Duh! I get it. We're done here. We don't need to go any further with this whatsoever. There's your all-seeing eye right there, the eye of Horus, the pineal gland, the third eye. It's where everybody's going to have a great awakening. I mean, a great sleepening. It's where everybody gets hit in the forehead and passes out and falls backwards. Music is part of the falling away. This is the eye of the idol shepherd the Bible talks about, whose right eye has been darkened. So it's basically a symbol of the Antichrist. Now, there's something flying around here. I'll show you what that is in a little bit. Here is one of the next scenes that you see. Oh, let me. I gotta switch to it. There we go. This is pure witchcraft right here. You have the disc in the middle, the moon, but you also have the two crescent moons from both sides. That is a common Wiccan symbol. By the way, all of this imagery, if you look on the perimeter, which means the outside for those of you who went to public school, if you look at the perimeter of this, you'll know that it looks like an eye or a mandorla. Mandorla is the symbol for Mystery Babylon the Great. It's an almond shape. It's basically the female part. It's what it is. So here, I mean, we have a spirit here. And I'm talking about another spirit in the Watchman broadcast. We have the spirit of Babylon here, and I'm going to be talking about Babylon today a little bit. Notice the symbolism here, the yin-yang symbol. It's the fusion of the stars and the moon or the planet or the earth or whatever it is, fused together there in the center. And during all this imagery, she's just talking dirty, okay? And then we have, here's a scene here where stuff's coming out of her forehead, all right? And notice that she has like the Mandorla symbol in her forehead. This is to us, this is obvious. We understand the language. We understand the meaning of the symbols. The Great Awakening, the seventh chakra of Kundalini. Now the serpent has uncoiled up the 33 bones of the spine and given this young Rapunzel a great awakening here. There's something flying out of her forehead. I'll show you what that is in a minute. And then this one here takes you like a half a second to go, oh, duh, Revelation 17. Here is the beast that carrieth her. Here is Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. By the way, if you go into like France, some places in Central Europe, but France especially, you go into some of these Roman Catholic churches, they have what's called a Black Madonna. A Black Madonna. Black Madonna is basically the goddess of Egypt and so on. She's the opposite of the white god, and so that's why you have all these Black Madonnas around in southern France and so on, and that all came out of Egypt. Something else I'll throw into this, if you've watched the Matrix series, you'll understand the symbolism there. You have the architect, which is the name Freemasons give to God. You have the architect. Hello, Neo. I am the architect. And he is the opposite. He is the designer of the machine world and the software that runs the Matrix. But he has an opposite in here. And his opposite is who they call the Oracle. And she's a black woman. And she is more about intuition and feelings and emotions and things like that. And the architect says, if I am the father of the Matrix, she is undoubtedly its mother. Well, that's a reference to the Black Madonna, and that's the symbolism that you see here. But what really struck me, and I think if I remember from the email, I think this is what the reader sent in to me, was this particular thing here. I showed you that there's like stuff flying out of her forehead. Well, that's what it is right there. Okay, these owls, about every 4 scenes in this video, you're going to see owls flying around. Now, if you don't have to, excuse me, we've already covered this. You don't have to read a bunch of occult books to understand what this symbolism is, what it's about. You don't have to go and read all that stuff. You just get your King James Bible out and you read it. Let's do that. Let's go to Isaiah 13, because there's some other things I'm going to cover here. There's a story that you guys have been sending me for the last several days, and I've been wanting to cover it, and today is the day. It makes me mad, is what it does. It makes me angry when I see something like this, and if this would have happened to my kid, there's no telling what I would have done. This just absolutely infuriates me to no end. Isaiah chapter 13, the Bible, this is the burden of Babylon. This is a prophetic warning toward Babylon, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amoz did see. And then if you move down to, let's see here. She's in pain in verse 8 as a travailing woman, and so on and so on. And then you look over in, let's start in verse 19. In Babylon, the glory of the kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be, and I want you to notice this now, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Remember that we said that. It's all going to connect here in a little bit. Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited. Remember when we did the Watchman video called, number 1, the mystery creatures of the Bible, number 2, where dragons live, we found out that any country, any municipality, any area of life, such as finances or business, in the church, in the home, in the family structure, or whatever it is, whenever in the individual's life, whenever there is an absence of Bible Christianity, when there is an absence of the 10 Commandments, of the law of God, the scriptures of God, whenever there is an absence of that, there are things that move in to take its place. When Christ the man is gone, then all these wild beasts, these wild creatures, these devils, they move in, because now that the man is not there, Jesus Christ and his word, now that that's not there and the Holy Spirit's not there, they're comfortable with that, because God put a fear in the beasts of the man. They don't like the man. When the man shows up, they don't like it. Get out, man! Get out of our house, man! They don't like that. So when the man leaves, that's when all the critters move in. And so it says, it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent here or there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. Did you get that? The shepherds. Shepherds, like pastors of churches and congregations, okay? The church is not there. The restraint that exists where God's people are, that by our mere presence, devils don't like being around us. When we're gone, that's when they move in. And I want you to think, this is an American video. What does that tell you about America? When these spiritual owls show up and they start moving in, why is that? It's because there's the absence of the shepherds and his fold. They're gone. So look in verse 21. Wild beasts of the desert shall lie there. Can I admit something to you? And I've since found out who the guy is, and now it all makes sense to me. One of my favorite books as a child was Where the Wild Things Are. That was like my favorite book in all the world. As a very young boy, first, second grade, Where the Wild Things Are. I used to hope that my room would turn into this big forest and I'd get in this boat and go where all these beasts are. I didn't know that Maurice Sendak was a sodomite. Kind of makes sense now, doesn't it? Anyway, the wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces, and her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. Think about it. So here we are now. We're the spiritual people of America. We have glasses that can see the spiritual world. We have an authorized Bible, Old and New Testament, left eye, right eye. We can see it. We see, what do we see? We see the owls moving in. We see the all-seeing eye. We see that spirit manifested. We see a woman riding on a beast. That's what we see. What does that tell you about the condition of America and the judgment that, according to the Scriptures, God is going to put out on America? Remember what Paul said. All these things here in Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel, Deuteronomy, all these things in the Old Testament are examples to us and to our country. And if you're from the Netherlands, they're examples to you and your people. Great Britain, they're examples to you and your people. Kenya, they're examples to you and your people. Why? Because God did it here. This is how God works. When He's had enough of the sin, He puts a stop to it. He destroys, is what He does. It's a universal concept with God. And we're supposed to be the ones who are looking into the Bible and understanding the times that we're living in by seeing it right here in the Scriptures. So we see owls. We see those spiritual owls, those carnivorous, flesh-eating things that love carnal things. Owls, think about, they have a carnal appetite. That spirit of lust and everything else being prevalent in this country. Why? How did it move in? You know, isn't it interesting? Let's just kind of put some things together. Let's see if we can't start making sense out of what's going on in this world. Prior to the early 70s, you had practically, I won't say all churches in America, but most of them were using one Bible, King James Version. There were some of the mainstream denominations that had already moved into the Revised Version. The liberal established churches and so on had already moved away from the King James.